I, 29F, been friends with Mike, 35M, for about 2 years now, and recently he offered to room with me since we're both struggling to make rent. I declined his offer because I felt that it would be hard to live with him. He has some extreme routines that I feel would clash with what I need to get by. He needs the entire house to be dark and deafening silent by 9 p.m. If he gets up during the night and sees even one source of light or non-sleeping sounds, he gets really upset and stressed. He wakes up at 5 a.m. and eats a very specific breakfast meal every morning. He eats lunch exactly at 1 p.m. on the dot. And he's very attached to his friends, will literally follow you around and talk your ear off about one of his obsessions. He constantly texts and voice calls me the moment I'm off work. I suffer from CPTSD and have trouble sleeping. I am usually up at extreme odd hours of the night and sometimes can only sleep when the sun rises. One of the ways I use to fall asleep is leaving the TV on so I can listen to it, like a bedtime story. Along with sleep issues, I also go through random episodes of depression, anxiety, and flashbacks. So when he offered to room with me, I rejected his offer, and when he asked why, I told him, what we need to get through the day will cause one another issues. Mike immediately started throwing a tantrum, saying I hurt his feelings and I was an asshole. He hung up after literally just screaming into his phone. A few hours later, I got a call from his parents accusing me of being an asshole and how disappointed they were in me for being discriminatory towards their autistic son. They said they thought I would be a good friend to him, but clearly I am just as judgmental as everyone else, and they ended the call by wishing I get what I deserve. Update: thank you everyone for your kind words and helping me understand autism just a bit better. AITA right now, I think it's safe to say Mike and I most likely won't be friends anymore. His parents started texting me, demanding I stop by and apologize to him and to discuss compromises for rooming together. So I told them no thanks and I'll pretend they didn't just ask that of me. Then they decided to take a jab at my mom being a single mother and failing to raise a good child, so I blocked all their numbers. I'll just take this as a lesson learned and move on, I guess.
I really don't know if I'm I in this case. I apologize for my bad English. My 19M parents divorced when I was 6. My mom got a boyfriend Josh and they started living together when I was 9. He had twin daughters, who were 4 when they moved in. Their mother was not in their lives anymore. My mom took them in as their own. I admit that I was a little jealous because they had her full time and me only 50% of time. I think my mom loved them more too. I was a quiet kid and spent most of my time in my room when my mom had me. I didn't want any siblings. My mom tried, but to no avail. By the time I was 16, I rarely spent time at my mom's place. And when I went to college I got an apartment, even though my mom lived in the same city as my college. Mom tragically passed in December. Because Josh and her never got married for some reason, I inherited everything, including her house. I allowed Josh and the kids to still live there. I paid half the bills as he is struggling because of low-paying job. My lease ends in December and I decided to move into my house after. I sat down with Josh and told him I was moving in January. Since this is my house I will take the bedroom and he will move to my old room. He started crying how bedroom is his safe space and all my mom's things are there, which gives him peace. I told him he can move few of her things to my old room. My room is 1/3 of the bedroom. He started crying even more that he doesn't want to abandon their bedroom. I was pretty pissed at that moment, so I told him to just get out of the house then, as I don't have energy to deal with this shit. I have since cooled down. But 3 days later he sent me a message to notify me where he left the keys and that they moved out. I found out they went to homeless shelter. I got messages from my mom's side of family how I am heartless and cruel to kick them out. How the twins lost mom and home in less than a year. Twins texted me how they can't believe their own brother made them homeless and asked me what they did wrong. My dad and his family told me I did nothing wrong. I do feel bad for them, but I still think I decide who gets what room in my house. AITA?
I am the oldest in my family. I had 2 siblings. My sister died when she was 6 months old in a SIDS death. I was 5 at the time. When I was 6 they had my brother. From a young age my brother showed concerning behavior and over the years it only got worse. He is very destructive and angry and has been in and out of our local children's hospital for psych evals and behavioral assessments since he was 4 years old. The police have been called to our house many times before to help get him under control. He has never been formally diagnosed, but he was medicated a few times to sedate him and try to curb his outbursts. My life was on hold because of all of this. I was not allowed to have friends over, I was not allowed to attend birthday parties until I was old enough to walk there myself. Money was tight and it meant sacrificing a lot. I was 9 when I last celebrated my birthday with my family, and once I hit 9 there was nothing again until I was 13 and considered old enough to do something with my friends without adult supervision. And even then I had to ask for no gifts because anything I had was broken by my brother. It was a nightmare. My parents would often leave me in charge so they could get a break, and then my life was hell. Once I was around 12 I was considered old enough to watch him while mom got groceries, even though I was not old enough to go hang with my friends. By 14 it was hours at night, a few times even overnight. I was not prepared and our house was destroyed every time, and my parents would express disappointment in my handling of things. The best period of time was when I was 16 and he was placed in residential treatment for a whole month. It was by far the best month of my life in years at that point. It was hard when he returned, no better than he was when he left. It felt like my life had ended. I moved out as soon as I could and I have distanced myself from my family. My parents have tried to keep in touch, but I am bitter toward them for my childhood, and they are aware. They have made excuses for why they made certain decisions. Now they need my help. My brother has gotten worse. They haven't had any kind of a break in 7 months. They want me to babysit for a few hours or a night so they can get a break. I told them no. They told me they need my help. That's when I told them I would never help them again and they are on their own. They told me I was being unfair. They asked me how I could do this to them. AITA?